on the chicken coop, we've had this issue of meat birds that were growing really fast, and we've had the laying hens, the layers that are like half their size, growing a lot slower, and we've got last year's chickens, which don't want to have anybody move in on their territory. So we've had this kind of clash, and so what we've done is we quarantined the little birds to an area and covered them up to keep out last year's chickens. Then about halfway along, at about 8 weeks, we took out the meat birds that were getting way too big to be in with the little birds, and we let them kind of free range around the coop. Now we're at about 12 weeks, and we're just letting everybody free range together. Everybody's big enough that they can fend for themselves or run for their lives or whatever. So the little enclosure, this quarantine area that we had, we can take it down and set everything to the side. We may need it again in the future, but for now we can just let everybody kind of roam together. The thing that I found interesting is that when I let them out to free range and to roam around, is that they seem to do a lot better. The running, the flapping their wings, the foraging, they seem to be growing faster with more room, more space, and not necessarily more water or more food. So I think it's been a good thing, a healthy thing to get them out, get them foraging around. The chicken coop is right next to the pond, and they've got unlimited water. The ducks don't even go back in the coop anymore. They just live between the water and the tree that's closest to the water, and I think they come up and eat, and that's about it. It's kind of been an experiment to see what works and what doesn't, and we haven't had any predator losses as far as birds or bobcats or coyotes. Now, not to say that that couldn't change, and we'll adjust our game plan a little bit, but for right now, leaving all their food and water around the coop, leaving the coop open for them to kind of free range. It's working out. They seem healthy, they seem happy, they've got tons of food, tons of water, and we'll kind of adjust accordingly. But my hope is that they'll use the coop for laying eggs. Now, last year's chickens have been laying eggs, a couple of eggs every day, and they're back to laying those eggs in the coop. For a while they were kind of laying them around the coop, but since we've kind of opened things up, they've gone back into those nesting boxes that are in the coop and seem to be laying there, which makes the egg collection quick and easy. My hope is that as the laying hens get bigger, that they'll kind of follow that example and they'll start laying eggs in the coop, in the nesting boxes. Now, if they don't, then we may contain them around the coop and hope that it'll be easy to find wherever they're laying their eggs. So that's kind of what we've got going with the chickens right now. And we started right at the end of February. So we've had March and April and May that we're into. Is that right? I don't even know. Yeah. So we've had, let's see, end of February. So we have March and April. So I guess we're I guess end of May will be 12 weeks. So we're only at 8 weeks. Wow, doesn't seem like much. Can that be right? What am I missing? February, March, April. But it's really March, April, May. Anywho. They're really coming along, and the thing I've noticed is on the meat birds, even at here we are 10, 12 weeks, whatever we're at, it seems like they're so big that they're they are so big that they're ready to go and be processed. We really need to take them to the butcher and have them processed and put them in the freezer, and then we'll be ready for chicken barbecue all summer long. I can't believe how fast they've grown. So that's been interesting. I could have almost waited until now to start those meat birds, but the going through the chick process and raising those chicks from the hatchery until they're at 8, 10, 12 weeks is a real hassle. And we did that through the cold, and so we had to keep them heated. And so I'm kind of curious. I might do chicks again in maybe in August, and try to do them here at the coop, where it's hot summer nights and I don't have to manage the heat lamps and those types of things, and I can do it in a larger area where the mess is not such a pain to clean up as it was in that tight space with the heat on and all of those baby chickens making a mess. So I think a summertime, maybe take the 25 meat birds, take them to freezer camp, and then replace those with another 25 layers, would set us up for massive egg production through the winter, well, certainly through the fall and into the winter and then into next year. But it seems like we're going to have to figure out a cycle of every couple of years your chickens are going to be starting to slow down on egg production, and you're going to want to replace those chickens. So it's kind of like I've got to anticipate, okay, those birds are going to the freezer, these ones are going to be ready for laying, those ones are old enough where they're not going to be laying as much anymore, and figure out a cycle that's going to work. But right now we're kind of at a sweet spot where we can load up 10 gallons of water, we can load up their feeders, and if we don't see them every day, we'll see them every other day, and they can kind of take care of themselves. The pressure is off. The pressure's not there like there was when they were baby chicks and we were watching them 2, 3, 4 times a day and cleaning all the time and feeding all the time. And so this is kind of a sweet spot. So for those of you that have been asking about the chickens and what's going on and where we're at, that's kind of the latest and greatest.